On this episode of The Art Teacher, come listen to me and my fabulous guest, Rachael Ride's book. Blah, let me say that again. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. You guys know I have a speech impediment. Like, who allowed me to have a podcast? I have a severe speech impediment. This is a bit and a bit of impediment. On this episode of The Art Teacher, come listen to me and my fabulous guest, Rachael Ride's book. Rachael is a self-titled lazy artist. Lazy because, well, she was even shocked I wanted to have her on my podcast about artists, because she is one. A Cancer with a beautiful sense of humor, a lady of the darkroom, a graphic designer, painter, and a closeted potter. In this interview, we talk about why she chose Los Angeles as her artist stomping ground, and even though every time she tries to get an adult job, the artist life just keeps creeping back in. Please enjoy. Bam! To take Jake, what you take that? Hey, hey. These are outtakes. Hey, this is Rose McAleese, and you are now joining us with kind of the first or second episode of The Art Teacher.
Oh my God.
And I'm with my girl, Rachael. Rachael, introduce yourself.
Yeah. My name is Rachael Weisbrook. I am honored to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I love this topic too. And I was talking to you and Steph earlier, and you guys brought up what it's about. And I was like, an art person. Wait, where?
Exactly.
Which one? Do you want my friend, or like who's going to be here?
Which is exactly why I want you on this podcast, because I want our kind of subject to be, why were you so scared when I was like, I want to interview you? Yes, Rachael, you, the artist.
Oh my God. I don't even know if scared would be the word I'd use. It was more like shock. I think it's easy as a creative or an artist it's the imposter syndrome. It's what it is at the end of the day. And it's really easy to forget that you are labeled as such, especially because I feel like there's a lot of perfectionism and OCD in myself. And so for me, if I'm not creating something that's it, I'm not it.
Right. Okay, I got you.
So even though I do know that I am an artist, I've had art and art shows, like it's extremely exciting and it does mean something. It gets me from time to time. Like I forget about it constantly, especially because I haven't created very much recently. It's been a minute. So for me, I'm in this place of like, oh yeah,
I am that.
I am that. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like sometimes when you are an artist, it's the only like kind of profession or field where someone's like, well, what have you done? It's not like when someone's like, I'm a doctor. It's like, when was your last surgery? Like you don't ask them that.
No. And it's completely subjective.
Yeah,
Art
for sure.
is subjective. You can't objectively do this or be that or make this. Like it's all based off of opinions.
Yeah.
You can't label something you can get a PhD. You can go to school for art. That's
right.
Absolutely
do that
true. And then you have that objectively on your title. But who's to say that's someone opinion, like their opinion is that they don't like your art?
Yeah. Ooh, God,
and then how does that affect your opinion of yourself as an artist, you know?
Right.
So it's the most complex thing to be.
Yeah,
or
for
to
sure.
claim to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you asked me, I was like, what? Are you sure?
Yes, I wanted you. I wanted you, and also because we have an in-house guest. Her name's Junie. She's just kicking it. So if you see anything, but this is part of the creation. This is part of the art.
She is also an artist.
She's an artist?
She's an artist. Her stage name is Sophia Loren.
Yes.
Her art is acting and just looking beautiful.
Performance artist?
Performance artist.
Yes. So that's like it, but it's also like I feel like adds the patine to this, like the texture of this podcast and everything. So hey, any and all small businesses, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. I have a small proposition for you. If you're a small business and you're in need of free publicity, yes, you heard me, free publicity, I want to give it to you. All you have to do is write me a short and small little bio or pitch about you and your small business and how your business supports the arts. For the best answer, I will plug you and your small business for 3 of my episodes. Everyone wins. I get to support a small business, and you get to be promoted for free. That means you don't have to sponsor me, don't have to pay me. I just get to talk about how much you love the arts. So please email me at rose@brokegirltherapy.com, the subject line, small businesses that support, and get your free publicity today. What kind of artist are you?
Okay, so I kind of dabble in a lot of things. I would probably dial it down to my main two would be photography and graphic design. So, and I like to mix the two. So
Word.
I would definitely consider myself more of like a graphic artist. Definitely. I paint. I like to do like acrylic paintings as well. I just am a little bit of a lazy painter. So using Photoshop, Illustrator, all of the Adobe suites, like it's just, you have every hue you could ever want, right in front of you. You have every like cool technology and tool to be able to just.
I mean, digital art is amazing. I'm so impressed by people what they do out there.
It's limitless.
Yeah.
And now like 3D and movies and like graphics and any kind of film, it's immersive and it all blends together. It's like, it's limitless. And so that's what's exciting about it. And I like the idea of being able to do it on the couch in my underwear. Like I don't have to like put in much work or like mix my colors and then go to bed the next day and then have to remix the same hue. Like it's
what a dedication.
Yeah, it is. So I'm a lazy artist is kind of what I like to.
Ooh, I like that title.
Yeah.
Lazy artist. As I was like trying to figure out a million ideas for a podcast title, it's like, I think every new person's going to come up with their own title for the podcast.
This one, well, that could be
there you go. That's you're the lazy artist. I get that. So what would 8-year-old version of you think of you as an artist right now?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know. I've been perfecting this, you guys. I'm ready to be a host.
I love it. Well, around 8 years old was like the first time I really started to like notice I was either A, had somewhat of a talent for art, but B, also really enjoyed it. Okay. My first piece that like my mom still has framed in our laundry room at home, and it's her favorite. We did like, it was in art class and we were supposed to recreate Monet's water lilies. And
what a cool assignment.
So cool with like oil, and it was really fun. And I think that was the first time. It was a combination of like feeling like I was having a great time, feeling like I was kind of killing it. I was like,
oh, look at me.
Mine looks a little bit better than that. And then
comparing it to other kids being like,
the other 8-year-old,
that person's going to be a great therapist when they grow up.
That's going on the trash can. Your parent is not going to keep that one. Mine's going on the fridge. And then just the validation from my mom. And like I continue to go back to this Monet like water lily that I've made. And it's not even that big. It's like, it's not even the size of a poster. It's small. But all of those factors combined, I go back to it all the time. It reminds me of like how I started, where I started, and also it's my mom who loves it. So there's a piece of you that's like, it's your mom. They have to love it, but my mom loves.
Oh yeah, that's your biggest. That's your first fan.
It's your first fan, and so you try to take the bias out of it, but really to see how much appreciation she had for it as an 8-year-old.
Yeah,
I was like, and now Monet water lilies. That's one of my favorite paintings.
Oh, is it really?
Of all time. And that was not my favorite. Like, I didn't really dive into like, ooh, what was my favorite artist? I was 8 years old.
Right.
Or around there. But after that, and I saw how much my mom loved it, I was like, it bonded us, it connected us. And then that has been really like the most beautiful little like bud of my art love.
So has art always been in your life, or did you have to seek it out?
I think it finds me.
Okay.
I definitely feel. So I'm also extremely into interior design. I'm actually in school right now for interior design.
Bitch, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
The New York Institute of Art and Design. So I'm trying to get a degree there. And I've always loved interior design, but COVID was huge. It really pushed me into realizing like my space is really important.
Right.
And I have these artistic abilities to make this thing shine.
Right.
And I lived with a really good friend before, and our apartment was always just like cute and like fun, but it wasn't really like designed. It wasn't what I would consider to like fuel my like art
Right.
drive inside me. And so I like designed it, and it's colorful. It's bright. It's got like shag fur on the wall in the loft.
Okay.
It's got like fun little tassels on the curtains. I love texture and all of these different elements. And then halfway through COVID, I was like, I also really, really like neutral, you know, like I really admire people's homes that are neutral. It looks very clean. And so I'd be like, okay, I'm going to start to like tone this down.
Right.
Every goddamn time I'd be online, I'd go to a store. It's that fucking rainbow pillow that's calling my name, or like the fur, you know, like I'm just drawn to it, and it's drawn to me. And no matter how much I tried and like blend in, which I feel is a common theme in my life of like I've always tried to like blend in and be a little less creative, because the creatives have always been kind of like funky and like weird.
Right. But it's also, I feel like this new, I mean, like the TikTok sound that always cracks me up is the maximalist, you know? It's like, ha ha ha, I'm not no minimalist. Like,
yes.
But that's like what happens is I always be like, yeah, I really love like a single rose and a glass vase on like a white wall, and then I'm like, no, I need the glitter.
I need the glitter.
Yeah.
I need the glitter. I need the lights. I need it to shine. I need like
5 posters.
I need every wall plastered.
Right.
But in a very design, artistic, friendly way.
Right.
So like, yeah, I definitely have tried to be more. It's weird to find adjectives at work here that like aren't incorrect or offensive, because again, it's all subjective, but I've really tried to blend in my life, because I felt always extremely uncomfortable being as creative or funky or like different. My creative side always made me feel very different, even though a lot of my friends that I have are very creative.
Right.
In high school, I had a group of friends that kind of like blew me off kind of thing. And then it happened again in college. And it was always this contrast of like, it just felt, I always equated it to my like creative artistic side.
Interesting.
And I still catch myself going back into that fear zone of like, okay, you're being too colorful. You're being a little too loud. What are you wearing? 2 patterns?
So your imposter syndrome is attached to like the extra. Like I'm too extra, I'm too much.
Too extra, too much. I'm not blending in. And I always thought I'd feel more comfortable if I'm blending in. I'd be less anxiety. I'd feel like less. I'm definitely a people pleaser for sure. And so I was like, people will like me more if I just blend in. If I'm not loud, if you're loud, you're something to talk about.
Right.
And I feel like I've been on the other end of being talked about a lot just because of being loud, artistic, whatever.
I get that.
So I've tried to run from it. And now I'm at a place where I'm like, you know what? This is who I am. I like the colors. I like the fringe. I like the fur. I like the polka dots. I like the patterns. I love wearing mixed patterns. I love it.
Do you think this echoed at all like of your upbringing? Like, cause you're not from a big city.
Right. I'm from Missouri. So
okay.
Totally.
Small town or?
Small-ish.
Okay.
Small-ish. I mean, we live near the city of St. Louis, very close. And my town wasn't per se like your stereotypical like Southern.
It wasn't like Last Picture Show where it's like 10 people in the town or something.
Nothing like that. But small compared to where I am now, for sure. And, you very monochromatic, very, and I'm not judgment. I'm not judging, but it's very, it's
cookie cutter,
very Truman Show, very like, that's kind of what it is. So to blend in was to like mute myself.
Right.
And I think that definitely adds a lot to my imposter syndrome, because it's the imposter of like, oh, I can't possibly this coming from a place like that. Yeah. And that place kind of always toned me down. So I was never really comfortable shining. Yeah. So yeah.
Did you ever have like a I mean, it says it in the title. I mean, the whole idea of this art teacher is I want to learn from artists and people listening to learn. Mm-hmm. Did you have like like a teacher or a mentor that kind of just was like, oh, Rachael, that one. Yep, let's feed her, you know?
I don't know if I had anyone specific. I did take a photography class in college where I was really close to the professor and spent a lot of time in the darkroom. Loved it.
Isn't it such a beautiful place? Just makes sense.
It's cool in there. It's dark. Like There's nothing.
Smell? I know it sounds weird, but
the smell is good. Yes. There's nothing. And you don't get to be in them very often, you know? Like I have, and I do want to continue my search into like I do a lot of film photography now. And mostly 35 millimeter. And I usually just send it off. Like I have a guy that I love. He's great. But I really want to be a part of the entire process.
You want the tongs. You want to dunk it.
I want to dunk it. Mm-hmm. I want to do it all. So there's a few places in LA that I really want to check out. But as for a teacher, I remember just her. I was never really inspired too much by, I've never been a big education person.
Oh no! I'm trying to say. I almost didn't graduate high school.
Well, that's amazing.
I didn't go to college, and I almost didn't graduate high school. So I completely understand the educational thing. So that's why I always feel like a teacher or like a mentor. That's someone that was just like, it's okay not to go that way. You know?
Well, maybe I did start college as a graphic design student.
Oh, okay.
I graduated as a sport management major with a business minor.
Oh my God. Isn't that like, I mean, this is literally the whole art thing where you're like, no, but like, let me get the real job. Let me like get something that might like let me get something useful.
Totally. Well, and there's so many components to it because there's that. There was the fear that came in of like, oh, what money am I going to make? Like,
right.
How am I going to make a living? There was for sure that. And then kind of the biggest like factor for me was I started hating it. I hated creating. I hated going to class and them telling me what this is not right.
Right.
I know you have guidelines, you have like specifics that you're supposed to try and meet, and they're trying to teach you techniques. I understand the grounding behind art education,
but they also don't tell you like we're teaching you rules so that
they
you
don't
can
make
break
that clear.
the rules.
They don't make that clear. They break you down. Nope, that's not good. That is not a good subject matter. Oh, that photo is not lined up. Like it was a whole thing where I felt really down about myself, and I just didn't look forward to creating. Yeah. And I was like, I need this to be something I cherish forever.
For sure.
So I'm not going to do this. I'm not
You're
going
not
to do
someone
it.
that could be like of the whiplash. Like I always wonder about that. Like when people like learn, like, do you need a J.K. Simmons to be like, nope, not tight enough. Nope. Like some people love that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of artists are like, no, I just want you to be like, you could do this one better, sweetheart. But like not be so, I feel like the education system can't help but bring you down and cut you down. It's just kind of in their nature in a weird way.
Yeah. I definitely am a little too sensitive to be like in art education.
But like, as an artist that I will not name because I do not like his politics once said is I'm an artist, so I'm sensitive about my shit. Okay. So that's like what it is, So yeah, I feel like that's what happens. But in those areas you still were able to find like a college teacher that you were like, okay, cool. But like, where do you think that you felt like you really found your kind of voice or your like vision as an artist?
I would say LA when I moved to LA.
Okay, so why did you move to LA? Because I always am so fascinated by the artists that choose LA over New York or San Francisco or Seattle or Vancouver or Paris so why Los Angeles?
Well, mine was not really to follow art. Mine was, okay, so when I was finishing my degree, I was in a business degree at this point, and I had to do an internship and I could do it wherever I wanted. So I had that flexibility. One of my best friends had just moved to LA and had gotten like a temp job, but she was probably going to stay kind of thing. Came out to visit. There was also, I was like running from an ex-boyfriend because small town, too much, need to literally part by states.
Yep.
And so it all just kind of came together. And when I came to visit her one time before I even decided this, I loved it. And we even spent, I think, one day in LA, and then the rest of the time was actually in San Diego.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. San Diego's a funky town. I really like San Diego.
Super funky.
Yeah.
And I did love San Diego, but I just loved how I felt about myself being on this coast. And I don't know if it had anything to do with like just being out of Missouri, but my best friend who had lived out here, she was always the one I was always the closest and clung to because we were very similar with like the creative. We were always in AP art classes together in high school. Yeah. So I definitely felt like, okay, I can breathe just being around her. And then I was introduced to friends through her and met other people. And no matter how judgmental LA can be, because you know what I'm saying.
Yep. I work in the most judgy industry in the entire entire world.
Yep. It's also the most accepting place I have ever been in my entire life.
Oh, for sure. Because it's full of like misfits. It's full of people that are literally trying to run away from Missouri, you know what I mean? Or wherever it is.
Yes, it's full of that. It's full of creatives. It's full of people with big dreams that believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like high school. Like people who hate LA, I'm like, oh, you just didn't find your tribe.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But you can find your people.
Well, and so one of my best friends, the one who I moved out here with, or came out here right after her, she is obviously still one of my best friends, but my people I met in LA.
Hell yeah.
Like
yep,
I grew up, tons of friends. You know, I gained friends. I lost friends. I went through different like periods of my life where I didn't feel like I fit in, and other periods where I did feel like I fit in, but maybe I wasn't being myself. Like I went through it all. But my people, I have like 4 people, and they're here.
Yeah.
Well, one of them's not here anymore, but I met them here.
Weird.
And yeah, I kind of meditated on it not too long ago. I hit my 5-year last year.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, I love a good LA anniversary.
I know. And 5 years was like, that's big. That's like a long
huge.
time.
That's like, I mean, isn't it like, I don't know what they say, LA native is like, if you last pilot season, you're fine.
Yes.
It's like a lot of people give up very quickly.
Oh, and I've seen, like I've had friends move out here and not make it as long. It's not for everyone.
No.
But I meditated on it when it was my 5-year anniversary, just because I felt a lot of gratitude. I couldn't believe how much like a city and a place could gift me.
Yeah.
So much peace and just so much courage. And I got that through my creative spirit. So like when I moved here, I was just surrounded by people who created, and they like did what they needed to do to pay the fucking bills. And then they created and they did what made them happy. And that was extremely inspiring to be around. So that's kind of when I started to like really pick up more and more of like, you know,
that vibe.
Yeah, that vibe.
So one of the things that I always ask my guests is a segment that I call the Resume Rambler, because I feel like as an artist, we have a lot of weird, odd jobs. So what was the first job you've ever had?
Ever had? Like in my life?
We don't even have to start. It doesn't even have to be art related, because it's the whole idea that like as an artist, you can start off as like a plumber to a busboy to be basically, you know, the next great artist or whatever. So it was like one of your first jobs.
I started as a lifeguard.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was a lifeguard at like 14. Yep.
Did you have to do the white nose?
Oh, with this pale pieces?
I was about to say,
babies?
Yes. And baked pie crust skin tones. Yep. I know that lifestyle.
I was a lifeguard, and then I ended up teaching swim lessons in college a little bit I worked at a pottery studio, so I did have
so you did have some art cool jobs.
Yes, and I worked there for a really long time. So
I just finished The Great Pottery Throwdown on HBO Max. It's one of the greatest shows ever. It's basically the Great British Bake Off, but with pottery. You have to watch it.
I did not, because pottery is actually my first love.
Oh my God, it's 4 seasons. Go watch it. But anyway, so pottery.
Oh my God. Yeah, ceramics is like my first love. In high school, I actually I was the founder of our ceramics club, and I named it the Mud Club.
That is so fucking cute.
Came up with it on my own, was so proud.
I'm so proud of you for coming up with that.
Member 1 of 3.
Oh, yes.
In the back of our yearbook, it's me, my friend, and just some random girl who probably didn't know where she was.
Yeah, she just was lost and needed something for her like college application.
Exactly.
The Mud Club.
The Mud Club. I had that was a teacher I loved. She was she was Russian, and she was my pottery and I just spent so much time with her because I was literally there. I loved it so much. I loved hand building. I learned how to throw on a wheel. Oh. So that was great. And then that led me to working at just like one of those paint your own pottery places for like kids. Yeah.
Like Color Me and stuff like that.
Yes, Color Me Mine and stuff like that. So I worked at one of those, which was great. I met some great, it was so much. I worked there for the longest time, and I would still probably be working there if it were still open.
Oh my God, I love this.
And I worked in the kiln room, so I got to work.
So you got to work with the shit.
I got to do all of it. I got to do like
nerding
the
out right now.
I know.
Just because I watched this show on HBO, so I know these things.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
I got to learn all the different cone firings and all the. It was amazing, and like it was a place for kids to come paint. And so if they ever painted something and it broke, we got to like repaint it.
Oh, I love
So it was
this.
we were able to still like be creative
and be part of it and everything.
Yeah, and I loved teaching kids. Like you have this entire dialogue with children where you get to like teach them the color wheel or like show them how to like clean a brush or like paint, whatever.
And like every artist has a little teacher in them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You just want to like hand it off to the next generation somehow.
Oh, it's like the most like inspiring and fulfilling
rewarding
feeling.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels so great. So I loved that job. But then I went back to college and I like wiped babies' bottoms at a daycare for like ever.
Yes, always. I do know a daycare job. Yep, being a nanny.
Yep. I worked in the kitchen, had to clean their dishes, which there is nothing worse than wiping a baby's bottom than cleaning their food dishes.
Oh my God, yes, I know. I used to be a
Disgusting.
dishwasher. It's pretty gnarly.
So bad. So I've kind of done it all. And
did you ever have a retail job?
I
Oh.
worked at Annie Ann's.
Shut up.
Bitch slung pretzels for about a year.
That is an art.
It is an art.
How
it's
like
I can still do it by memory. It's like
really?
you roll it and then you twist it and throw it down.
If my sister has an amazing pretzel recipe, if I like get it, will you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're gonna have a day and we'll make the pretzel dough and then we'll do it.
Did you enjoy that job?
Yeah. Hated it, loved it. My friends loved it more because
they got garlic knots.
At the end, I'd go to parties, I'd get off work, and I got to bring whatever was left over. So I was like the hit.
I had a friend that worked at Baskin Robbins, and that's what he did. He would just bring the leftover ice cream. I don't think he was allowed to, because I asked someone about that, and they're like, "You're not supposed to take the ice cream."
Well,
like,
it is kind of fucked up because if we don't take it, then they get donated to like people who don't have food. So I would take from homeless people. So I was a little bit of just
we'll
a horrible person.
We'll glaze over that one.
Yeah.
But okay, so the Auntie Anne's, you did that.
Auntie Anne's, I think that was the only retail job I've ever worked.
Of all of them.
Yeah.
I always feel like sometimes like there's some people who have missed the retail hole, and I'm just always looking at them like, you dodged a bullet. Like you didn't have to go to war in a weird way.
Well, I've done the restaurant one.
Okay. So I grew up in restaurants.
Yeah.
So like the restaurant world is just like, that's overwhelming in a different way. I feel like there's those two mentalities though. Like if you grew up if you worked in the restaurants, you can kind of like be like, you know what, fuck the customer. But if you work in retail, you have to like the customer. So it's like very interesting to be like, I don't know. One of my favorite retail jobs though, and I still to this day would love to do it, was working at Williams Sonoma. I loved it. It was cookware.
Yes.
My mom literally was like, you need a summer, fall, like Christmas job. I went discounted pots and pans, work at Williams Sonoma. And
my mom would adopt you right now. She would adopt you just knowing you worked there at one point.
Yeah, but it was like such a great.
You got the peppermint bark probably for sale.
Oh my God, for sale, 40% off and 40% off of sale items. That's like the secret.
Amazing.
But it was like always like, that type of thing. But so within these jobs, how did you kind of like balance your art like while having a rent paying job? Because, you still got to pay the bills. And when you're still kind of coming up as an artist, maybe your art's not paying the bills quite yet.
Totally.
But like, how did you kind of keep that balance?
Well, I will say those jobs were all held when I didn't really have to pay rent. They were through high school, college, definitely like, tuition fees, whatever. But since I've lived in LA, I've had 3 jobs. One as a hostess, and then one at a golf place.
Oh, wow.
And then because I majored in sport management. So I needed to finish my degree with an internship working at something in sports. So that's how I got my internship out here, was at a golf facility, like training facility.
What? This blows my mind. Okay.
Yeah. But then I ended up doing everything. They were like a small startup kind of thing.
That makes sense.
And I ended up designing their website from scratch, which
so
kind of
the
like
art kind of came. Yep.
Yeah, because throughout high school, throughout college, I was in a sorority. Don't tell anyone.
Okay,
but
no one listens to this podcast, so you're fine. Literally,
don't tell anyone. It's a secret. I don't tell.
Okay.
But I loved the part about it that I did love, other than like intramurals and being able to do the sports.
Yeah.
Was I was head of all of like the art chairs. So like I made all of the homecoming props and like helped with that stuff. It was
I love that.
So fun, exhausting because you're up until like 3 a.m. every night, then go to school and then you go to work and then like you have to do it all over again. Hell, but so much fun. But that was kind of the only like outlet I really had for a few years. So when I got here, I kind of forgot, you know, like, oh, I actually do want to continue to do creative things and make art. And so when I made this website, it was a little bit of graphic design again, where I was it reignited the flame.
Yep.
And so I'm really not grateful for that job. That job fucking sucked, but I am really grateful for the opportunity to be able to like do that. I helped design some of their marketing material for like advertising. And so
that's how you sneak back into that gateway drug.
Totally. And now at work, what I do, I started as an office manager, but now I actually just got a promotion to senior manager of accounts and design.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Yeah. So I finally have like design in my title, and I get to do a lot of work with our like head graphic designer, and we pretty much, he recreates a lot of key arts for like old movies that we acquire and rebrand. So I get to like help a little bit with that. I've done a little bit of the creating. However, again, I'm not the biggest fan of being critiqued. And so I don't do as much of the initial creating, more so as like the tweaking here and there.
For sure.
But I love that. I love helping with that so much. So
because it kind of stimulates your right brain and left brain in a weird way.
Well, I'm literally, my job title is senior manager of accounting and design. So I'm the accountant and I'm in design.
It's like an oxymoron.
It makes zero sense. It makes zero sense. Right. And I failed accounting twice in college. So like,
congratulations then. Way to fail up.
You're
so Los Angeles.
I hate the end of the quarter. I fucking hate it when all those royalties have to go out. I'm like,
oh my God, I might have tax questions for you later.
I don't know if I can answer them.
Okay,
we'll see. We'll see. I only learned what I needed to know. I was like, this is what I know. I'm good at like teaching myself things. So,
but this job was like both sides of the world for you.
And I think that's another thing that drew me to graphic design, is it is a little bit of both. Like you have to be a little bit tech savvy. You have to kind of know a little bit more of the technical side and less of the creative thing.
There's math involved in the sense of like what works and what doesn't work.
Well, you have to know aspect ratios. You have to know sizes of like the canvas. You have to know different file types. Like there's all these technical things that come into like a delivery or the operation side. So I love to be a part of both of it, which really makes me feel like fulfilled and all that stuff. Yeah.
So like as far in this conversation, do you own the title artist?
I guess I do. I mean, yeah, this was great. Like when I say it out loud, it's like a speaking resume, and it's like, wow, I've done this and I've done that and I've done that. It's easy to forget about it, especially in LA, doing the grind, the day to day, trying to make rent. Like that's really at the end of the day what your priority has to be. So it's really easy to get lost in all that and forget that like, oh, I do have a label. I am an artist, but yeah, I think my perfectionism keeps me from claiming that title a lot, because in my mind I see artists as like very big, well-known, successful, but you fully get humbled living here, and it's in the best way because you're surrounded by people who also look at success as big measurements, but they're doing just as great things.
Right. Because there's sometimes where like I feel like when I like have an issue of doubt or anything, and someone's like, okay, but do you realize how many people would kill to be in your position? And you're like, that's that humble you need, where you're like, nah, I'm actually grinding, I'm doing what I need to be doing.
Exactly.
But it really kind of like solidifies you, and then also keeps you to be like humble, and then be like, okay, but I still want to do more. I still want to like grind.
Totally.
And everything.
Yeah.
But okay, so the way that I want to end every episode, okay? So what is a shout out that you want to give to someone in your life that's done something really epic or really cool recently that you're just like, I'm really fucking proud of this person? They don't have to be an artist, just someone that you're like really proud of.
It's like perfect timing. I would definitely say my boyfriend.
Oh, what happened?
He's also a creative. He is the most amazing screenwriter. I would love for you guys to connect.
I would love to talk to him. I love meeting other screenwriters, which is rare because, you know, screenwriters don't like people. He
doesn't really like people also, but also he kind of hasn't done anything with it. It's like a personal kind of project kind of thing.
Oh, I love that. I would love to talk to him.
Yeah. So you guys definitely need to connect because you'd love him too. I think you guys would vibe. However, he wants to be a producer. He works in the trailer like advertising agencies.
Cool.
So right now he's a coordinator and he helps coordinate these different trailers for movies, TV shows, whatever it may be. Yeah. And like big titles. So it's really exciting for him to have all these like names behind him.
Yeah.
And he recently just got a full-time position as a coordinator, but their producer was like out of town getting married for a week. They asked him to stand in and he fucking killed it so hard.
Damn, babe.
His boss, like man who signs his paychecks was like, you're going to have my job one day. Like you are so talented. And this kid needed this like confident, I see it, but like he's just as all of us are as creatives so hard on ourselves. Like,
oh my God, we don't see it. Yeah.
We never see it. And I feel like sometimes I'm his mom that's like, you got it, honey.
Yeah.
Like, you're great. And I believe in you. And he's like, yeah, mom. Okay. But for someone like that, of that power and stature and someone that he respects to say that, like he killed it. And I just love seeing him. Like he's really following his passion in a creative realm. And like, it's great to be a part, like to be next to that.
Yeah.
Even if I don't feel like I'm kind of fulfilling my creativeness at that moment, it's kind of like we feed off each other. Like he will take the reins and then
do you like dating an artist?
I love it.
Okay, cool.
I don't think I couldn't.
Word. I respect that.
I don't think he loves movies and I don't really know much about movies. I don't really appreciate the art as much as he does. I fall asleep to about 99.9% of them. So I love learning.
I think I've seen these videos where he was talking about The Godfather and you're like, Scarface. He was talking about Michelle Pfeiffer and I was like, I know these casino references.
Oh, Casino, yes. Oh my God.
One of my favorite movies.
I live in a realm, an apartment filled of references that I don't understand.
Me and him can have our own conversation.
Literally. He will play 7 like realms to Kevin Bacon with you. We have this like movie game where you like put the car. It's a movie household, but I am not involved, but I love learning about it.
Yeah.
And it's opened my eyes to just how beautiful movies are in an art form. I never really thought of them that way before. I always did, but
it's different because when you have, like people don't think of blockbusters as art, you just think of that as money making, but it's like that. There's no director that doesn't want to be the next Martin Scorsese or the next Barry Jenkins. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like one of those things, or like Penny Marshall. It's like you always want to be taken seriously. And even in the biggest action films, there are still references to like old school Japanese films or old school French film. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But you don't see it completely makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't think of it as an art, and then now I'm in it and I'm like, oh, it's such an art.
I know.
You don't understand.
It really, and I still don't even, I don't know. I'm not good with names.
That's
I could
totally
not
fine.
name any actor, any director, anything. But
you're my favorite kind of people. Are you kidding me? I love this shit.
I cannot, I can't. I'm horrible at it.
Everything.
I know. Well, that's what he tries to do. And I'll listen from you. For him, I'm like, you're a nerd. Shut up.
I'll just talk about Clueless and Mean Girls and why we don't have like a great high school movie anymore.
I can get on. I can get down
talk about
with that.
Amy Hecklin all day.
Yep,
You know?
Absolutely. But yeah, I do. I think
love
we
really,
really. I don't think I could do it without it because he really has a good appreciation for my art. He's one of the biggest cheerleaders that I have too, and we will butt heads from time to time when we work on creative projects together.
It happens.
So there's that little tiff, but other than that, it's
a fun argument.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's just, you feel like you're surrounded by your people.
Yeah. So then what is something that you're proud of that you've done recently? Just boast.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I knew this would be awkward for some people.
Yeah.
Do it. I don't give a fuck. Think of Rachael as like another being.
If I'm like watching her from above.
What are you like? You look down at Rachael and you're like, damn, I'm really proud of this bitch.
Well, I recently was actually interviewing for a position as a art teacher for special needs.
Oh,
and
my God, you saint.
My dream job.
That's amazing.
I know I didn't get it.
Oh, that's okay. But you did it.
Yes, I know I did it. I literally had an interview, went out and passed my CBEST in 4 days, which is like.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah, so I can substitute teach now. So if anyone needs a substitute teacher.
Yo, that's good money.
Let me know. So I was really proud of that. And I had to kind of sit down and really, really fine tune and create like a portfolio for myself. And I chose photography. I did put some of my graphic art on there as well, but I chose photography to kind of like steer it, and having it all in front of me. I first of all was really proud of what my portfolio looked like. And then I was just kind of every picture I was putting on there, I was like, I took that?
Yeah.
That's fucking so good. I was like, how is this not in a museum? Yeah, I was like sitting there fully for the first time, hyping myself with just everything in front of me. Because you see it from when I get roles developed. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's good. Okay. Oh, I'll post that one. That one looks good. But all together, I was like, wow, I have an eye. I have an eye.
Yes, you do. That tangible nature that happens. You're just like, I want to eat this.
And even I was looking through, I put some photos from the Broke Girl Therapy merch campaign. Photos. And I always go back to them when I took a view with your fan in the fur and we're in the park. It has your full essence. And I was like, girl, you got her. Like,
you got me.
You captured her. And I can feel, and maybe it's because I know you, but like, I feel your like, energy through that photo, and
you did that,
and I literally looked at it the other day and was like, damn, that's one of my favorite pictures.
Junie wants to be part of it, and it's totally fine. Junie's our podcast cat. She is a thing. Okay, so then our very last question is, so basically I really want to connect all the artists. So if you could ask any artist in the entire world, and this is going to be the next question I ask my next guest, any question, it could be a silly, it could be goofy, but like, what's a question you've always wanted to ask an artist?
Well, I don't know how the next guest would ask or answer this question, but I have always, Frida Kahlo is my girl.
Yes. Oh God.
She's my number one girl. She's who's inspired me since I was like little.
Hell yeah.
And I've always been confused by why she went back to Diego.
Oh my God, this is such a deep question.
I know. So I don't know how someone else would answer this question.
But
maybe
why
I have
do
to
you
think
think
of,
she went back to Diego?
Why do you think she went back to Diego? He was a piece of shit, treated her like trash. She got into this horrible accident.
Yep.
He acted a fool. She fell in love with a woman,
I know,
bomb-ass,
she was gorgeous.
Bomb-ass woman.
Yeah.
Why?
Maybe, I don't know.
There's got to be reasons.
There has to be reasons. But, I feel like sometimes it's not. This is, again, why I want to do this podcast. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because we have this belief that the best art comes from struggle and pain. So I wonder if that's like a part of it.
She was attached to that.
Yeah. And that's like what I want to kind of break out of with this podcast and everything. Yeah. So that's such a great question to ask someone, because I'm just literally going to be like, so why, who's the Diego in your life? I'm just like, whoever the poor
what did Diego do to you?
Yes. But I love that question. I think it's amazing. And then Junie, just like a little spirit animal, just
Junie, the art. She is the art. Here's the art.
She is the period in the sentence. But where can people find you with your art and everything?
Oh, so I have 2 Instagram handles for my art. I have one that's my photography, which is Francis Film, and there's 2 M's, like millimeter.
Oh, clever.
Yes.
I love that.
And then my other one is actually the name that I go by with my art, which I created at the very beginning because I was scared. I was scared if I was going to fail. I didn't want my name behind it, and then I was scared if I got too big. I laugh because it's like sounds crazy to even think about,
it makes
but
complete sense.
There's always a chance, and I thought if I get too big, I want to keep my like autonomy. So
I love that.
My art one where I have a lot of my digital art is Wade Francis.
I love
my middle name's Francis, so if anyone's
oh, that's so clever though.
Yeah,
it's like your alter ego.
Wade. Well, it's because when I started really getting into acrylics, I loved waves, and I loved it because the motion was so soothing to me. And as someone with like anxiety and depression, it was just that's where my therapy hit of like the combination of art and therapy. So I was like, Wade. It meant nothing. It literally was just sounded like wave, and I was painting I did a whole wave series. So
I mean, you have one on your wrist, right?
Yeah. Well, this is actually the Balinese Ohm.
Oh my God, that is beautiful. It does look like a wave,
I loved
though.
It because it has a wave in it.
There you go.
So
deeper meanings.
I know. All everywhere. There's deeper meanings everywhere.
Rachael, thank you so much for coming.
Oh my God, thanks for
being like technically like one of my first guests.
Literally, thanks for thinking of me as an artist, because now I think of me as an artist.
Ha! That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Thanks, producer. We're good, right, Mom?
We did it.
We did it. Yes. I could do oh, you want me to plug me? I thought we were gonna do like the edit, and then I'm gonna do the like, her bio basically. But you guys, thank you so much for listening to The Art Teacher. I'm your host, Rose McAleese. Junie is attacking my producer, Stephanie Megan. Also, as always, shout out to our amazing music composer, Mike Ilvester. You can find him at Ilvesters on Instagrams. Thanks, guys. Throw her. Just throw her across the room.
Throw her. Meow. Oh.